There's this moment, so quiet, but it cuts deeper than any fight on screen. Truly, just a little girl at the time, standing in the background while her dad, Cody, showers another child with affection. She's not crying. She's not even complaining. She's just watching. Watching a man who used to call himself a father to 18 kids slowly forget that some of them still exist. That moment sticks with me. It's not loud. It's not dramatic. But it says everything about what this family has become. And friends, that's just the beginning. Hey everyone, I'm Olivia, and welcome back to TLC's Sister Wives Secret. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and drop your thoughts in the comments, because today we're talking about the illusion that held the Brown family together for years, and how it finally cracked. Not with a bang, but with silence, favoritism, and a slow unraveling that played out in plain sight. When the show first started, Sister Wives was pitched as a radical kind of family story. One husband, 4 wives, 18 children, all under the same spiritual roof. They weren't trying to hide their lifestyle. They were trying to prove that polygamy could work, that it did work. And for a little while, people bought it. Cody was charming. The women seemed close, and the kids were the heart of the show. It felt like a different kind of American family, one that pushed back against convention, but still somehow made it all look functional. Or, at least, together. But here's the thing. It was always a beautiful lie. A version of the truth carefully edited for the cameras and protected by layers of spiritual reasoning, public image, and denial. And the person who helped bring that illusion crashing down? Robin. Robin wasn't just another wife. From the moment she entered, everything changed. The dynamic, the rules, even the hierarchy of love. Cody didn't just fall for Robin, he retreated into her, and as he pulled closer to her, he drifted further from everyone else. That one big family slowly split into factions. The rotation of affection ended. The rules got stricter, but only for some. And the love? That started feeling more like a contest. So in today's episode, we're going to pull back the curtain on what really happened inside that family. How a man who preached equality and unity ended up creating a system where some children were cherished and others forgotten. Where weddings became plot points and parenting became performance. And how one woman's fairy tale became everyone else's heartbreak. Stay with me, because the truth behind the Brown family's collapse isn't just messy, it's devastating. The thing about Cody Brown is he didn't fall apart overnight. It was a slow, steady unraveling, one tantrum at a time, one cold shoulder, one skipped milestone, and by the time it was obvious, by the time it was undeniable, the damage was already done. What we saw wasn't just a man losing control of his family. It was a man losing the illusion of being in control in the first place. Cody used to walk into a room and expect everyone to listen. He carried himself like the leader, the protector, the patriarch. But as the years passed, the kids started growing up. Logan, Maddie, Mykelti, Hunter, they started thinking for themselves. They started questioning his decisions. And you could see it. Cody didn't like that. Because the truth is, his authority was never built on true respect. It was built on performance. And when the performance started to crumble, so did the crown he'd placed on his own head. There's no better example of Cody's ego cracking than the infamous pig roast in Hawaii. Picture it. The entire family gathered. A rare moment where they were all supposed to celebrate together. But Cody? He throws a fit over pork. Not because anyone was forcing him to eat it, but because he suddenly decided that, for religious reasons, pork was now off limits. And because his wives and kids didn't immediately fall in line, he sulks like a child, pouting, angry, demanding everyone play along with his new rule. It was less about religion and more about control, about seeing who would still obey. Spoiler, not many did. And that stung. Then came COVID. And this is where things got darker. Because while every family had to navigate the stress of the pandemic, Cody's rules were weaponized. Let's be real, those rules were never about safety. They were about Robin. Every precaution was put in place to protect her home. Suddenly, visiting your dad meant submitting to a list of restrictions so extreme it felt like punishment. The kicker? Those rules didn't even apply evenly. Robin's kids got full access to Cody, while the others were treated like strangers. And then, Isabel's surgery. If there's one moment that makes fans physically ache, it's that one. Christine's daughter, suffering from scoliosis, needing a major operation. And Cody? He refused to go. Not because he couldn't, not because he was out of town, but because he chose not to. Claimed COVID was the reason. Claimed it wasn't safe. But the truth was clear. If it had been one of Robin's children, he would have been there in a heartbeat. That decision wasn't just neglect. It was betrayal. It sent a message that couldn't be unsaid. Some children matter more than others. And all the while, Cody kept preaching about wanting to return to patriarchy, as if the problem was that he didn't have enough control. But the reality, he only wanted power when it benefited him, when it gave him the upper hand, when it allowed him to punish, dictate, or avoid accountability. He didn't want to lead with love. He wanted to lead without question. But people were finally starting to question. And once that started, Cody's version of family started falling apart. If Cody's crown was cracking, Robin was the glue trying to keep it together, but only for her own kingdom. Because while everyone else in the family was dealing with the emotional chaos Cody brought to their lives, Robin was quietly building her own bubble, one where she was always the victim, always the favorite, and always the exception. Let's be honest here. Robin didn't just become the fourth wife. She became the wife. The main character in a family that was once supposed to be built on equality. The others were turned into extras in a drama she was scripting behind closed doors, and every time she spoke, it was like watching someone who couldn't quite decide if she was a damsel in distress or the misunderstood queen. Remember her wedding with Cody? The secrecy, the fanfare, the dress, the way the other wives were kept in the dark while she got her dream moment. That wasn't just wedding planning. That was a power move. She knew exactly what she was doing, creating separation, elevating herself, framing her marriage as special while the others were slowly being erased from the picture. And it didn't stop there. Robin mastered the art of emotional manipulation with a kind of passive-aggressive precision that honestly still shocks me. Every conversation seemed to circle back to how hard things were for her, how emotional it all was. Even when the topic had nothing to do with her, she somehow made it about her pain, her struggle, her childhood, her sacrifices. It was exhausting to watch and heartbreaking for the other wives who were constantly invalidated. Now, let's talk about the parenting. Because Robin's household was, and still is, a world apart from the others. While Christine, Janelle, and even Mary were raising independent kids who could cook, clean, work, and think for themselves, Robin was building a cocoon around her children. Solomon and Ariella were treated like porcelain dolls. Tender-aged was the phrase Cody loved to repeat, as if being young meant they couldn't do anything on their own. But it wasn't about protection. It was about possession. Cody clung to Robin's kids like they were his only legacy. He broke down if he couldn't see them for more than a few days. He built his schedule around them. Meanwhile, he couldn't even show up for his other children's milestones. He didn't attend Isabel's surgery, barely acknowledged Truly's existence at times, and distanced himself emotionally from most of his older kids. And Robin didn't just let it happen. She benefited from it. She fed into it. She fostered this unhealthy dynamic where Cody could pretend he was still the perfect father, so long as he only focused on her children. And let's not forget the fact that her older kids, Dayton, Aurora, and Brianna, are still living at home well into adulthood. Dayton, by all accounts, is brilliant. Multiple degrees. So what's keeping him home? It's not lack of intelligence, it's a lack of freedom. Robin has spent so long infantilizing her children, she's made it nearly impossible for them to break away and build their own lives. Independence isn't just discouraged, it's feared. That's the thing about Robin. She plays the gentle mom card, the loving wife, the woman who just wants peace. But peace never existed until she got everything she wanted. And when she didn't, that's when the tears came. That's when the guilt trips started. That's when Cody would suddenly swing back into protective mode, cutting off the other wives, siding with her, and reinforcing her place at the center of it all. Robin didn't destroy the family alone, but she gave Cody the perfect excuse to stop trying for anyone else. By the time Cody was fully settled into Robin's orbit, the damage had already been done, but it's the kids who ended up paying the highest price. And that's the part that's hardest to watch, because no matter how messy the relationships between the adults got, these children were never supposed to be collateral damage. Let's talk about Logan for a second. The oldest of the Brown kids, and honestly, the one who ended up being more of a father figure than Cody ever was. At 15, Logan was cooking breakfast, helping care for his younger siblings and stepping up in ways that Cody just didn't. While Cody was off giving speeches about his vision of family and worrying about pork at a pig roast, Logan was doing the work of keeping his actual family grounded. And he's not the only one who learned how to survive in spite of the chaos. Christine's daughters, especially Isabel and Truly, had to grow up under the weight of being emotionally sidelined. Isabel had to go through a major surgery for scoliosis, and Cody couldn't be bothered to be there. He made it clear that it was too risky to travel due to COVID, even though he had no issue traveling for Robin's needs or maintaining contact with her kids. That contrast? Brutal and unforgettable. Then there's Truly, Christine's youngest, the sweet, observant child who saw more than anyone gave her credit for. During the separation between Christine and Cody, Truly became symbolic of just how far Cody had checked out from the lives of the children he didn't actively see as his real family anymore. Christine said it herself. Truly wasn't just losing a father figure. She was coming to terms with the fact that he had emotionally left her long before the official breakup. The silence, the absence, the coldness. It all told her what words never did. Meanwhile, in Robin's house, it was a completely different world. Solomon and Ariella were shielded from any of the harsh realities. Cody bent over backward to be present, physically and emotionally. Any time apart from them caused full-on breakdowns. He called them his tender-aged children, as if they were too young to handle life without his constant presence. And yet, he didn't apply that same softness to Truly, who was just a year older than Solomon. That's what favoritism looks like when it's raw and unfiltered. And we can't ignore the fact that Robin's older kids, particularly Dayton and Aurora, are still at home. Now, yes, Dayton has autism and anxiety, which does complicate things. But what's concerning isn't that they're at home, it's how much control Robin continues to have over their independence. She treated Dayton's move to college like a personal loss and by all accounts discouraged him from stepping out on his own. It's not about support. It's about fear of losing control. Robin claims to be the nurturing mother, but what she's doing is keeping her kids emotionally dependent, unable to leave, unable to grow, afraid to take risks. Meanwhile, the kids from the other branches of the family, they're out there, building lives. Logan's married, Maddie's thriving, McKelty's a mom, Aspen's happily settled. That's no accident. That's the result of being raised in homes that taught them how to stand on their own, even when the emotional resources were scarce. But Robin and Cody's kids, they're being raised in a bubble. And that bubble looks pretty on the outside, but it's made of fear, control, and a kind of emotional codependency that doesn't prepare them for the real world. If the family was supposed to be about love, trust, and preparing children for life, then this fractured dynamic is the ultimate betrayal of that promise. And you know what hurts the most? It didn't have to be like this. Cody had so many chances to course correct, to show up, to be present, to treat all of his children as equals. But instead, he chose the easier path, the one where he only had to love the kids that adored him, that made him feel safe, that lived under Robin's roof. The others? They became background noise in his story. It's not just about bad parenting. It's about the lasting scars this kind of favoritism leaves behind. It's about the kids who learned to expect nothing from the man who was supposed to guide them. It's about watching siblings grow up in different emotional universes. One where love was abundant and performative, and one where it had to be earned and often wasn't. And somehow, Robin managed to keep herself and her kids on that pedestal while the rest of the family tried to find stability in the fallout. The most heartbreaking part of this entire journey is that the very thing the Brown family claimed to stand for, unity, shared love, a big village to raise a family, was the very first thing to fall apart. And not because plural marriage is inherently doomed, but because Cody and Robin tried to rewrite the rules mid-game. And in doing so, they left everyone else behind. For years, this family preached about being different from the stereotype. They weren't supposed to be the typical polygamist household we see in headlines. They said they were about choice, love, fairness. They wanted to show America a healthier version of plural marriage. And for a while, it kind of worked. They smiled for the cameras, they had family trips, shared dinners. The wives made it look doable. Messy, sure, but doable. But here's the thing. That version of the Brown family was held together by the labor of women who sacrificed everything, their time, their independence, their emotional well-being to hold Kody up. And when those women began to expect something in return, respect, equality, a husband who showed up, it all came crashing down. The dream of this big, harmonious polygamous family started to collapse the moment Kody stopped seeing himself as a partner and started acting like a king. And Robin? She didn't just let him take the throne. She handed him the crown and built the castle. You can see it clear as day in how she carries herself. Robin has always painted herself as the innocent one, the sweet one, the misunderstood fourth wife who just wanted to be included. But watch the show closely, and a different pattern appears. She didn't just blend into the family. She quietly positioned herself as the center of it. The one Kody protected, the one who didn't have to share, the one who got the legal marriage, the one who got the house, the one who got the father for her kids. And whether she intended to or not, she ended up being the wedge between Kody and every other wife. The kids saw it, the audience saw it, the other wives lived it. Now, look at the Brown family today. Christine has moved on. Janelle is living life on her own terms. Even Mary, after years of emotional abandonment, is finally stepping out of Kody's shadow. They may have lost the marriage, but they gained something far more valuable. Their voice, their independence, their peace. Meanwhile, Kody and Robin are left trying to salvage what's left of the fantasy. But let's be real. There's no family left to hold together. Just two people clinging to the idea that they're still the center of something that's already gone. You can hear it in Kody's voice every time he brings up patriarchal order or talks about how the family betrayed him. He's still trying to lead a group that doesn't exist anymore. And the saddest part? He doesn't even realize that he's the reason it fell apart. Not the media, not COVID, not the other wives. Him, his choices, his selfishness, his refusal to grow, his need to be the victim. This isn't just reality TV drama. This is a portrait of emotional manipulation playing out in real time. The favoritism, the neglect, the control, it's all there. And we've watched it chip away at real people's lives for over a decade. But you know what? Through all of this pain, something kind of beautiful has happened too. The wives and their kids, they're not just surviving. They're thriving. They're building lives where love isn't about competition, where parenting isn't transactional, where relationships are mutual, not strategic, where their kids know they're safe and supported no matter what. Christine's home is filled with laughter. Janelle's kids are standing tall. Even Truly, who was once pushed to the side, now shines in a home where she's seen. That's the true win here. That's the silver lining. That even in the ruins of a broken system, real strength, real love, and real growth can rise. So when people look at Sister Wives and say it's just drama, just entertainment, nah. It's a cautionary tale. It's what happens when a family system is built on control instead of respect. When the loudest voice gets the most love. When leadership becomes ego, and when one woman gets to rewrite the rules while everyone else pays the price. Robin may still be in that big house with Kody, trying to act like they're the last ones standing. But the truth? The family didn't leave them. They left the family, slowly, selfishly, silently, and all that's left now is the illusion. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Have you been seeing this same pattern in the episodes? Do you think Robin ever truly wanted to be part of the whole family, or was this always the plan? Thanks for spending this time with me today. I'm Olivia, and this is TLC's Sister Wives Secret. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who needs the real story. More truth is coming. I'll see you in the next one.